Sorry. I just have to get it out sometimes. What is up, guys? And welcome back to a brand new video. Episode number 13. Will it be lucky or will it rather be unlucky for us? 3 engine failures, 4, I don't bloody know at this point. Will we see another one today? We'll have to wait and see. So far, life is turning out to be quite lucky. That charity event we attended has gone through. And yeah, we get some acclaim for that, which is lovely stuff. Pushing us ever closer to level 15, where we need to be, where we can add another sponsor to this car. So, guys, if you're enjoying this series, thank you so much for tuning in once again. Leave a like if you are enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel if you need to see plenty more F1 22 content. Let me know, do you want to see more stuff than just career mode, or do you want to see me solely focus on career mode? I do have some stuff in the pipeline for other videos, not replacing career mode, but doing 2 uploads a day when I can. But I'm interested. Do you want to see just career mode, or are you quite keen to see other stuff? Because I realize my audience doesn't just want to see career mode, or at least I think so. I do want to mix it up for the non-career mode fans, so let me know. Anyway, that's the topic of discussion out of the way. Let's get into the Dutch Grand Prix, starting off with some supercar driving for the fans. They've all turned up in their droves to see me overtake Tremblay and put him in the mud once again. We raced back in Spa. Last race, absolutely destroyed him, and he's signed up for some more. Maybe this guy should be my co-op teammate. Life would certainly be less stressful if that was the case. Easy GGs, 3 from 3. I don't know what kind of racing pedigree he has, but surely his reputation is absolutely tanking at the moment. Regardless, let's get into the weekend itself. The odd chance of rain, especially for Saturday. Also, we're the worst car in F1. We've been asking for this almost to happen by not upgrading the car, and finally, Williams have got their act together, and they have now overtaken us ever so slightly in the performance index. It is last place for us. On paper, worst car, so really we should be, in theory, 21st and 22nd in both the race and in qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix. Though this little chart here, you can't take 100% seriously. You have to factor in the type of upgrades we have, the car that we have, the setups we run, and I think we're going to be pretty quick at Zandvoort, or quicker than what the chart suggests. We're going to run maximum downforce. We've got a lot of downforce upgrades on the car anyway, so I'm hoping we can be quite competitive. Alright, here we are for the Dutch Grand Prix, qualifying for Zandvoort. This is a circuit I've always really enjoyed. A circuit which I used to play back on Toka Race Driver 2, Toka Race Driver 3. And I was just blown away by the undulation of the circuit. I think it was very unique and very cool. Anyway, we've got a Red Bull blockade here. The lead Red Bull went off and destroyed a braking board or something, and then Sergio was going really slowly in preparation for his quali lap. He's run wide. I got in the way of the McLaren. Oh, and Gasly as well. I'm so sorry. My team has not sent me out into a good amount of track space here, it seems, but we're just trying to stay out of everyone's way, and now we are going to start our first lap. I'm not expecting any miracles here, guys. Worst car on the grid. Running the difficulty level as high as I think I've done in qualifying this season. 106 AI for quali. You have to turn it down a little bit for quali because, well, the AI have been pretty ridiculous. Actually, I think I ran 107 AI a few races ago. I think it was Austria, and I haven't run it that high in quali since. We got absolutely destroyed that race. But, yeah, we'll see what we can do. We always crank the difficulty back up for the race. But, we can see, wow, Gasly in the mud, quite literally. But yeah, I haven't really spoken about difficulty. I have alluded that the AI have been a lot more difficult this year. But now that I'm starting to get a handle on the game, we're cranking it back up consequently. We've shown really good pace the last 2 rounds, even despite the lack of performance upgrades for this car. I'm getting a handle on the game. I'm getting setups now, which is, I think, really helping because the standard setups are absolutely rubbish on this year's game. So, yeah, we had to run a slightly lower difficulty for the start of the season, and really, that's when I was struggling more. So, yeah, we're infinitely getting better at this game, which is nice to see. We're 3.5 tenths up as we round the middle sector. 20 seconds to go in this session, and we're P10. We're P10. Can someone explain to me what's going on? We're in P10. I'm guessing people didn't really hook up a good lap. Maybe a few people did a Pierre Gasly and went straight on at turn 1. People are improving. Gotifi's gone up to P13. The Aston Martins are very close to us in the performance index, and I'm sandwiched in between them. We go up to the line. We improve by over 5 tenths, and that... are we through? I'm not sure. We are through! In P16, we just sneak a place into the next session, and we can breathe a sigh of relief. I wasn't expecting to get into Q2, but here we are. We are expecting some rain now in this next session. It's basically coming imminently, so we're getting out there straight away to see if we can get a time in, because I believe that the rain is literally only a couple of minutes away from drenching this circuit. So getting a time in early, if some of the front runners rest on their laurels a little bit, take their time, they get caught out, then that's extra positions for us in this race. Anything beyond P16 in this quali session now is a bonus, and now the rain is coming down. You can see, if you look at the halo and the body of the car, you can see the rain drops, or the rain animation on the car. That means it's raining, basically. It's just a reflection off the car. So we'll see the track gets gradually worse over these next few minutes. So it's imperative that we get this time in now, because I don't think the track is going to be any better than what it is right now. Up to the line, open the DRS. We're pretty much out of ERS battery usage, and we go up to 3rd place as we run over the competition. Absolutely lovely. That's not the first time we ran over some Haas pit crew. Doesn't seem to be affecting them, though, as they have built themselves a very nice car. So, we're P8 somehow, and looking at the tyre compound, flicking between the inters, we can see the delta is actually increasing. So the track did get wet a little bit, but it's improving again. So, I think it's worth going out there and just seeing if we can secure our place in Q3, maybe? We're P8 at the moment. Everyone else is going out themselves. This is Esteban Ocon. Oh, and he's done a Pierre Gasly at turn 1. The circuit is a little bit greasy, but it is improving. You can see the sun is starting to break through the clouds, and that's only infinitely going to dry the circuit. So let's see. With only 5 seconds remaining, we were told we wouldn't be able to start a lap, but here we are. We have made it round, and we are ready to give this our best shot. This is our final set of soft compound tyres available to us. And currently, we are on the bubble here in P9. People are coming across the line to improve on their laps. We've got a McLaren approaching the start-finish line now. No, doesn't demote us. We're still in P9. Oh, no, we've spun. We were down on our delta by 2 tenths. It was worth pushing to see if we could improve our time. We've been demoted down to 10th place. But this is pretty much the end of the session now. Only 1 or 2 cars crossing the line. I can see an Alpine coming up to the line, and they don't improve. So we have made it through to qualifying 3 with a back marker car. We are doing our best George Russell impression from the Williams. Just frauding our way into these sessions. It's absolutely ridiculous. We get through by a 10th and a half. So we absolutely made the most of those conditions. The best of the track conditions in Q2. I think the track, to be honest, did get worse. Even the track at the end of the session was still slower than the time that I set my time on earlier on in the session. So, yeah, we absolutely do not deserve to be here, but we seem to be putting ourselves in the right place at the right time. And, again, in Q3, we just keep taking our chances, and I'm going to take another one because it's still dry conditions, and I think it's meant to rain even harder towards the end of Q3. So we've got out nice and early here to see if we can put in a competitive time here in Q3. I've gone straight on a little bit at turn 1. Track is certainly not as good as what it was in Q2. So we just have to make the most of it. The circuit is very greasy. I think the times are down by about 2 seconds compared to what is optimal on a fully dry circuit, maybe even more. But we're doing the best job we can. This is our one and only lap. We got given a new set of tyres for Q3, as you normally do, so that's kind of saved us. This is our one run. Even if the track improves towards the end of the session, I won't be able to go out again and set a better time unless the track really ramps up. But we'll have to do that time, that run on a used set of tyres if that's the case. Either way, we're putting in our best lap that we can, making the most of the conditions. DRS still enabled at this point, so we're making the most of that. Into Sector 3 now. Circuit feels, yeah, it is greasy, but for the most part, we've got our grip, and I haven't been caught out too much, apart from what you saw at turn 1 there, missing the apex quite badly. I also missed the apex there at the penultimate corner. Through the last one now, can get caught out with a back end loss sometimes if the circuit is low grip, but Carlos goes P1, we go P4, only 4/10 shy of the Ferrari at this point, so that was a really good time from us there, and it sees us in P7 by the end of the session. We beat a Ferrari and we beat a Red Bull. Sorry? Slowest car on the grid, and we've beaten the 2 fastest cars on the grid. That is absolutely unbelievable. We've gone from, theoretically, should have been qualifying last, and here I am in P7, in Q3, and with a solid chance of getting points in tomorrow's Grand Prix. Much like Hungary, this is a circuit that's very hard to overtake. There's a difficulty check for you there, and as promised, going to increase it for the race to 109. We'll test 109. That might be too high. I don't know. But we'll crack on and see what we can do in this Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the North Sea coast and to the Zandvoort circuit. We're 25 miles away from Amsterdam for today's Dutch Grand Prix. It's a race the great Jim Clark won on 4 occasions, leading for an astonishing total of 370 laps. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Benjamin.
Oh my word! We're starting on the second row of the grid for this Dutch Grand Prix. How many people have penalties in this race? I'm sorry to keep banging on about it, but we're the worst car. I'm going to fully flex on that we're in the worst car and starting on the second row of the grid. This really is George Russell Simulator in this first season of my team. I might get some tasty offers at the end of this season. Yes, I might own my F1 team, but you know, I might be open to offers at Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull. What are we saying? Could dominate next year's championship. Who cares about building my own legacy? I'll just shortcut to glory. I mean, shortcutting is in my nature. So here we are on the grid. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still got the race to do, and I could easily screw it up for myself or get a failure. That likes to happen. Anyway, race strategy, medium to hard. I'm looking at potentially doing medium soft if the tire wear is low enough. We really just won't know until we get out there and really put these tires through their paces. So that is exactly what we're going to do. A bit of cloud cover. Temperatures don't look overly high, so it looks like we might be able to get less tire wear than anticipated. But I guess it really depends on the pace that these front runners are going to set. I'm going to try and do my best to just pull away from, not really the Ferraris, the front runners. I'm going to try and just pull away from the likes of the Haases, the Aston Martins, McLaren's. Oh no, McLaren's a bit too fast, I think. Anyway, the race is starting. 5 red lights and we are underway. I can see myself at the front of the grid from the replay start camera. Oh, life is good at this point. Up the inside of George Russell, we're trying to force our way onto the podium, and I think it's going to work. We squeeze out the Mercedes, and we are running in 3rd place, and it's not by some kind of wacky strategy. It's not by the AI not pitting under safety car. It is genuine P3 right now on 109 difficulty. I mean, there's little to no difference between 109 and 110. We are here. And no one, not really no one, everyone, can stop me. And here comes George up the inside into the third sector. He gives it his best shot. We're going to see some crazy lunges from the AI, I imagine. They are not going to want to sit behind me for more than a corner, I think. This thing is going to be very slow. Our biggest weakness, I can see it coming, it's going to be this start-finish straight. The AI can really slingshot out of that right-hander, and that is evidence of it right there. We don't even have DRS enabled yet, and the AI breezing past me with ease. So there's almost no point in fighting the Ferrari, which is even faster in a straight line. So I think we're going to have to just chuck out the white flag. We had our moments in the sun. We had our 15 seconds of fame in P3 there, but that's as good as it's going to get for this race. It is back down to Nowhereville. Look at that train on the minimap. They're all coming for me, and I'm going to do my best job to get my elbows out and try and find some kind of a strategy that is going to keep me in front. I'm fast through the corners, not so much on the straights, and that's what we set ourselves up for. Almost like a wet setup, but you know, it's a TT setup. We're running 47, 44 front wing out of 50. Yeah, we're going to be very, very slow in a straight line, but we're going to try and use our battery on the straights to defend, but it's going to be awfully tough to defend from Ferrari power unit cars. Bottas is next. He's on medium compound tyres. And from there, it's only going to get worse because Magnussen's on the soft. He's going to be fast absolutely everywhere. I think the Haas now is faster than the Alfa Romeo, if I'm not mistaken. On the performance index, I'll have to check that. But here comes Bottas, this time with DRS. Only has to sparingly use the battery, and he is past us, and there's Magnussen having a look up the inside into turn one. This could quickly get out of hand. There's a lot of fast drivers around us, even with the penalties. Magnussen with a big dive bomb, and he's thrown away about 3 positions, maybe even more, with that savage lunge into that cambered corner of turn 3. That's not really going to work. That's not going to work, mate. You're too far back. Now he's reversing. What is he doing? You just have to laugh, really. Magnussen's down to last. He's literally in last. Look at the minimap. He's behind my teammate, Oscar Piastri. How is Oscar last, apart from Magnussen? Sad times. Hopefully Oscar can sort his life out. I don't know if he's had an incident or something there. Oh, wait, no, he's not last. There's Alpines who are even further back. I wasn't even looking that far back on the minimap. That is pretty ridiculous. Hamilton is now through. Oh, jeez. We've got Alonso and Vettel, both on soft compound tyres, who are going to want to line me up in this race. Also, here comes Alonso with the DRS. This is just... They're overtaking me like I'm not even moving. They're overtaking me like I'm in a Fiat Punto on the M25 in the slow lane, and everyone's in... I don't know. I don't know. You fill in the blank for me. Sebastian Vettel is next, and I'd like to fight Vettel if I can, but I just don't have the straight line speed. They're just zooming past us at the early part of this race. We're getting a lot of understeer, I will say, with heavy fuel. Maybe that'll work out better as the car gets lighter and we burn some of that off later in the race. But I really want to fight Vettel. He's in an Aston Martin. I can't afford for an Aston Martin to be getting points when we're not developing up the inside of Sebastian. We're going to try and make his day as horrible as possible, try and hold him up and stay in front, because his softs are going to die off in this. And if there's anyone in this field that we can fight, any team, it's going to be Aston Martin. They're very close to us on the performance index. So we've managed to fight him off for now. Ricciardo might get interested in the back of Vettel. We'll have to wait and see. But every lap, every corner that passes by, Vettel's tyres get slower than mine. So I'm hoping by just delaying this fight, delaying this overtake from Vettel, gives us a better chance of staying ahead of him, gives us a better chance of finishing in the points. Vettel is actually proving to be a nice rear gunner for me because he's not that quick. And Ricciardo then stuck in a DRS train. Vettel does get us there, even despite our intimidation tactics on the straights. He is unfortunately through now for P8 in this race. I'm hoping that Vettel has to do a 2-stop in this race as Ricciardo out of nowhere goes to the dive. That allows Stroll to go through, and Stroll's on soft compound tyres too. Oh my word, we can't allow Aston Martin to get a double top 10 finish. Ricciardo doing his best to throw that in their favor. He's got Lando Norris now for company behind. But we're fighting Aston Martins, who are, well, on a charge for us in the Constructors. It's a big rivalry right now. I think they're 14 points behind. They're on 16. We're on 30. So any points we can avoid them getting is obviously beneficial for us, because we're not going to improve anytime soon, and they might be on an upwards trajectory. We just don't know. Anyway, this is the fight for the lead. Max Verstappen very close to Charles Leclerc. No, he's out! Max Verstappen is out of the Dutch Grand Prix. Oh, and George Russell has gone with him. George Russell is also out of the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen going up in smoke. And no, it wasn't Charles Leclerc leading the race. It was Carlos Sainz. But Verstappen pulling up in front of the Dutch army. They are not happy at the sight that they're seeing now. And here's the replay from George. Oh my word, he's literally driven towards him. I don't think I've seen worse driving than that, and probably ever. George is out of the Grand Prix. He's having a nightmare season for Mercedes. Toto Wolff, seriously, must be running out of patience with him, because he's turned into a Crash Bandicoot this season. And not the fun kind. Anyway, we can see both the Aston Martins in. They're double stacking. Safety car is out. My teammate Oscar Piastri has not come in. We are making the most of that. I don't run over a pit crew this time, which is progress on my front. Problem with the pit stop as well. We had a problem with the right rear tyre. Thankfully, we managed to slot in behind Sergio Perez. Watch the right rear. It's just a little slow getting on. They couldn't, I guess, line it up with the hub properly. And that was what slowed us up. I don't think it cost us anything, because we would have rejoined right on top of that McLaren. We do find a nice gap in between the AlphaTauri and the Red Bull, though. So, yeah, all is not lost. And that Red Bull would have overtaken us anyway, let's be honest. He's on soft, so it looks like he's coming in again. So in actual fact, we're not going to lose out overall to Sergio Perez. He's going to have to make another stop in about 6-7 laps time. Safety car is in. Oscar Piastri is up the order. So we're running split strategies here at Marduk Motorsport, and we are now ready to get this race underway with green flag running here for the Dutch Grand Prix. Schumacher going around my outside. We turn defense into attack as we get the McLaren and potentially Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. There we go. We're back up into P11, and our chances of getting a points finish are ever improving as we put Aston Martin in the mud. So too with Sergio Perez. We get him around the outside, and Oscar Piastri is up next as we run up the hill for the 10th time of 36 here. And we're having to defend hard against Sergio Perez, who has the overspeed. Thankfully able to place our car in the correct position. Sergio, speaking of placing his car correctly, does not. That was a bit of a moment there. He nearly ended up off the circuit altogether and losing a spot to Daniel Ricciardo. So that little moment there for Sergio has given me, well, about 5 seconds breathing space, and he's all over me once again. We're going to have to defend to the inside here. This is a massive DRS train, which is starting to emerge, and any track position you can hold on to, I think, is only beneficial. Tsunoda and Alonso fighting side by side. I wonder if Alonso's doing the old finger wag at Tsunoda again. Or maybe he's learned his lesson by now. Oh no! That's the other Red Bull! I think they might be in the wall. That's a yellow flag. We'll have to get a replay of that. What has happened to Sergio here? I think he might have got caught up on the curb. He comes through the right-hander. And yes, he does get caught up on the curb. That has happened to me so many times on previous games. And actually, I think in qualifying, I spun on one of my in or out laps. And Sergio has done it in the race itself. He's lost a tyre and he's beached on the banking of the last corner. Red Bull are going to walk away.
Some information on Perez. Okay, they're out of this race.
Oh, really?
Thanks, Mark. That's, did you ask Jeff there for advice on feeding information or something? But regardless, Red Bull are going to walk away with 0 points in this Grand Prix. Absolute disaster, because it leaves Ferrari almost uncontested at the front of this grid. Bottas is the nearest rival to Carlos Sainz right now. I'm getting held up by my teammate Piastri, who has not stopped again under a second safety car. What is he doing? we're just going to have to put him behind us. I was thinking about just leaving him in front of me. I thought I was going to be slow, and I was hoping that he'd be my DRS train that we could work together with to keep Ricciardo at bay, but he's actually just so slow that it's no point in doing that. I'm going to try and catch up to Sainz and Tsunoda if I can. Tsunoda going a little bit slowly on the medium compound tyres. He's actually boxing on the very next lap. That is very... Oh. That's so pointless. What's the point? What is actually the point in pitting one lap after a safety car? You just put yourself at the back of the grid. Look at Oscar. He's nowhere on the mini-map. He's ruined his race. He could have been on the back of this queue, maybe even fighting for points if he stopped under the first safety car. And now he's going to be nowhere. I can't be dealing with these terrible strategies from teammates. Game after game. F1 Manager 22 can't come fast enough where I can control both cars' strategies. There'll be no more terrible strategies under my watch. Anyway, Bottas is in from P2. Oh, there's some questionable strategies going on here with the medium compound runners. Why wait until green flag running to take your pit stop and then have to overtake people on the green flag? Yeah, I have no idea. Regardless, it actually is Charles Leclerc now leading this race from Hamilton. Hamilton needs to stop. I'm guessing Leclerc does as well. Sainz took the opportunity to go from softs to hards. Here comes Ricciardo on my inside. Doesn't make the move stick. But this is pretty much the halfway point. We have gone early on the hard compound tyres, to be fair. It might be tricky to get these to the ends. There might be a bit of tyre wear. We might be quite slow. But regardless, these tyres should get us to the ends without a puncture. But what kind of pace and what kind of fighting form we're going to have at the end remains to be seen. Ricciardo is now through into P2. And he's now going to hope, I guess for his sake, go on a charge for Carlos Sainz for the victory of this race. But Ricciardo looking good for a podium. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton in like clockwork. Nothing really to say there on the hard compound tyres, and they shouldn't have any tyre niggles for the rest of this race. There's the replay of Daniel Ricciardo getting past us. Basically just drives past us like we're not even moving, really. And we're now on the podium. We are now legitimately on the podium in this Dutch Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel, our race and season-long rival in the Aston Martin, putting pressure on us in P4. And I actually like I said earlier, I love having Sebastian as my rear gunner because he's not overly fast and he's able to keep the very quick Haas drivers behind, and also Lando Norris. I think there's a Mercedes coming up very quickly. Yeah, you can see Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton. They will be on the back of me very soon if we have terrible pace, which I think we will for the rest of this race. 14 laps to go, and Vettel's still putting the pressure on. We've got a problem for the rear wing. We're not going to have any DRS for the foreseeable future. But as long as we're in control at the front of this pack, then we won't be needing that DRS drag reduction system. Anyway, we had a bit of a moment there. We got up onto the curb in the middle sector, ran us a little bit wide, and we're out of rhythm. And now Sebastian is having a go at us round the outside into Sector 3, unable to get the move done. It seems like my pace, actually, is a little bit stronger than what it was at the start of the race. I think my car is a little bit more comfortable on the hard, or I'm comfortable on the hard. The fuel is burning off, so there's less understeer through the middle sector, less, I reckon, tire temperatures as well. I reckon my mediums weren't hot, but they were certainly getting into the upper threshold of the tire performance window for temperatures. But on the hard, I don't imagine it's struggling too much, as we don't use any ERS on that straight. I was doing that as a test to see if I could stay ahead, and I don't think I could have. I had to go defensive there to fend off Vettel, and now we can see Lando Norris having a look up the inside, turns to the outside for the next corner, and Vettel holds on for now. That's very scary. I have to use my battery to defend now, and every time I use my battery, I lose about 10% of it every lap, so I have to be very sparingly, use my battery sparingly to get to the end of this race. We're gonna... Oh, Lando's got through on Vettel, and so has Kevin Magnussen. He just literally barges him out the way. And my security, my safety in this race is now gone. We've got to defend against a much faster McLaren. I know they're pretty quick in the corners. I'm not so sure about the straights. I I guess we'll wait and find out. I am going to use my ERS just to be safe here. Use down half the straight. That should be safe enough, and we were able to keep the position for now, but oh, I don't like this. I really don't like this. Lando Norris is very quick, but not when he makes mistakes like that. Yellow flag. Is that because of Lando? I'm not too sure. We've got the Haas of Magnussen getting back through, and so too does Sebastian Vettel up the inside in the Aston Martin, and he has displaced the McLaren once again. Now we've got to defend against a different rival in the Haas, which we know for certain is fast in a straight line. Not so good in the corners, so let's see if we can do our best to hold them at bay. There's a beautiful helicopter shot which showcases the train of angry cars heading for me, and in that train now is the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, is the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. They were a long way behind only a few laps ago, but such is our turtle pace that we're just getting caught very quickly, but they're unable to do anything. There goes Vettel. That's a shame. He was holding back both Norris, the Mercedes, the Ferrari, and now we only exclusively have fast cars behind us. Magnussen being one of them. 4 laps to go in this race, and thankfully there's a power struggle going on between Magnussen and Lando Norris. It turns out Magnussen's not so fast through the middle sector at all. I'm actually managing to pull away from him, and they're starting to battle on the start-finish straight and into turn 1, but it's actually working out in my favor that I'm pulling away from this group of cars. We've only got a handful of laps to go in this race now, as Lando Norris goes around the outside of Magnussen, and I think this time he makes the move stick. So 3 laps now to Vettel with the fastest lap. He must have made the pit stop. So he got shoved out by everyone, maybe got front wing damage, has put on a set of soft compound tyres and is showcasing that pace. Poor Vettel, that's very unfortunate. Norris has now cut the gap down from 2.2 seconds to 1.1 in what is only just over a lap. So we're going to have Lando Norris for company now, and I think I just have to go full send with the battery just to go attack. Qualifying laps now just to keep him out of DRS. Well, guess what, Ben? He's now in DRS, so we have to focus on switching up our battery deployment. We are going to have to go and think defensively and not use our battery on every straight. We're going to have to use the battery solely on that start-finish straight now just to keep him behind, because that's where the AI are the biggest threat. Let's see if we can do this. 6/10 is the gap to Norris. That's a little bit closer than what I'd like it to be. Literally depleting the battery now just to keep him behind. I used it down most of the straight, and still Norris able to get dangerously close there. He got within 1 or 2 tenths, and I think next lap he's going to be even closer, and a good chance of dive bomb range, if not... Well, that's a bit weird. If not even pass me on the straight without even having to worry about the braking zone itself. Penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, and I'm getting increasingly nervous in this race. We're still in P3, by the way, so we're on target for big points, no matter what happens. But man, I'd love to get a podium in my first season of My Team Career Mode. How awesome would that be? I'm doing something very rare. I'm scratching my nose, which I haven't done in a very long time. It's hay fever season after all, so just, yeah, had to scratch the nose there. We're back to the race itself. And this is going to be the last chance, I imagine, for Lando Norris to get ahead of us. This is the last full complement of straight that he is going to get in this race. So let's make sure we absolutely yeet the battery here. Started off at 25%. It is now falling under 10%. And Lando's going to see the flashing light here. Defending to the inside. Trying to break the slipstream. Lando around the outside of turn 1. Unable to make the move stick. And we hold on for another lap. And Lando's all over us. He's coming up the inside into the right-hander. We leave the space. And thankfully, he's unable to make the move stick. We've lost 15 seconds to Daniel Ricciardo ahead. That's how slow we've been. But we just about managed to be fast in the right areas. AI making mistakes at times, like Lando did just at that very fast right-hander at the start of Sector 2. Gives me even more breathing room with only a few corners to go now. Carlos Sainz sets the fastest up in the Grand Prix, and with that wins the Dutch Grand Prix. Is there any Dutch fans still here? Have they all gone home? I'm not too sure. They won't be happy to see the sight of a Ferrari standing on the top step of the podium. But hopefully, a Marduk Motorsport car on the 3rd step of the podium is enough to cheer up the Dutch fans.
brilliant job, mate. That's a fantastic podium. Super driving, really strong pace. I'm really happy. Well deserved.
Oh my word! We have a podium in season 1 of my team career.
So another excellent win from Ferrari. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we could talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those that we've witnessed today.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again.
Oh my word, we're on the podium. My driver in my team. We built a car that's good enough. Well, not good enough, but we drove the wheels off that thing to be there standing on the podium. Someone pinch me. On 109 difficulty as well. The highest difficulty we've run this entire season, and we get the best results of the entire season. I don't think we can top this for the rest of the season. Not with the lack of car developments. That's we've got worst car as well. The episode we go to the worst car and we get our first podium, and hopefully first of many. Oscar Piastri had an absolute stinker today. He had 3 stops. He just kept coming in, even though he was in no man's land. Maybe there was a problem with his car, but everything went well. Everything went on our side of the garage. A podium, 15 points, moves us up to P12 in the standings. We jump Mick Schumacher and Esteban Ocon, and with that, Aston Martin not getting any points today. Sebastian Vettel very unlucky. I don't know what happened to Lance Stroll, but 45 points. We're now 29 points clear of those guys, and I think now we can maybe start to breathe a sigh of relief and really focus on next year's car without the consequences of being overtaken in the constructors' standings. I'm actually not too sure, but as long as Vettel and Stroll's form from today doesn't repeat for the rest of the season, I know they're on an upward trajectory, but I think we might just about have those guys covered. What an excellent decision it was to cancel development on this year's car. The fact that we're still able to bring in points while save up resource points and plan for the future means we're going to only come back with a bang in Season 2, or dare I say it, even later on in the season. We'll just have to wait and see. I want to check and make sure that there's no regulation change coming for Season 2. Then we'll assess our options from there. But guys, what a video. What a race. A podium from nothing. We qualified P7, started 4th place, took every chance we had this weekend from qualifying Q1, 2, and 3, made the most of the weather, made the most of the strategy, the safety car, got a bit fortunate with people crashing and stuff, and then we really had to get our elbows out for the rest of the race. We drove very strategically with Sebastian Vettel, kept him in our DRS, and did our best to make sure we could keep the status quo, but then Vettel made life very stressful for us. Norris had to go. Then we had Kevin Magnussen having a pot shot at us, or tried to. Didn't have the pace really to run with us. And then Norris fought his way back through. It was a literal roller coaster this weekend. But I'm so happy we managed to get that monkey off our back and get our first podium. I think it's going to be a long time, guys, before we get another podium in this season of career mode. This race has just been absolutely extraordinary, and with that result I think we have to go up to 110 for the next race. I mean, it's not going to make barely any difference, but after getting a podium, I think we need even more nerfing potentially. So 110 AI for the next race. It's Monza, a very good track for me as well. Corner cutting central. The curves will probably have something else to say about that, but we'll give it our best shot. We're not well suited to that track potentially with our lack of straight line speed, but we'll run 0-0 wings and see what we can come away with. Anyway, I'm waffling. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this incredible episode. Subscribe to the channel if you need to see plenty more F1 22 content. And until the next one, I'll see you next time.